take a card from Dara's book and not do a preamble. All right. The discarded outfits lie side by side on my bed. All three meet my daily dress code standard. Clean. They even meet my dress to impress standard. Wrinkle-free on the front. But I'm not sure any meet today's standard. Cool. Or at least not noticeably uncool. Last week, I gladly accepted the English teacher's invitation to speak with her middle school students about memoir writing. My lesson plan is solid. My PowerPoint is the perfect mix of practical and sassy. But I'm freaking out. Standing in my bedroom wearing Spanx and an extra layer of deodorant, I'm suddenly 13 instead of 30 and wondering whether the cool kids will mock my clothes. How am I not past this? I scan my choices one last time, sigh, and choose the safe but uninspired dress over the boots and jeggings ensemble that I think is still in fashion but could possibly have gone the way of the mullet since the last time I checked. It would be like 1992 when my legs finally reached the right proportions to buy stone-washed jeans with the zippers at the ankles, just as everyone was ditching those for colored denim and penny loafers. An hour later, dressed in my classic but not cool clothes, I review my speaking notes and mumble my introduction to myself in the back of the classroom before the bell rings. I'm on. Good morning, I'm Kristina. I heard your class is working on memoir writing and that some of you are less than enthusiastic about telling true stories. I asked your teacher if I could have a day to try to change your mind. Things go great. The students are attentive, they ask interesting questions. I tell them the importance of telling the whole, messy, awkward, specific truth because that's when the magic of the personal becoming universal happens. If their nodding is any indication, I've convinced them that true stories have the power to change the people who write them and the people who read them. I put them to work on their own stories and circulate through the room answering questions and redirecting off-task students. I come upon one girl who is talking instead of writing. She's one of the cool kids, and I wish for a moment I had chosen the jeggings. Hi, I say, interrupting her conversation. Hi, she responds, making the greeting sound more like a question. The eye roll is implied. I see that you are talking instead of writing. I've reviewed internet tips for labeling behavior, not students, in preparation for today. Do you know what you want to write about, or do you need help coming up with an idea? I know what I want to write about. She has a challenging edge in her voice. Oh, great! I overcompensate with chipper. Getting the idea is the hardest part. Go ahead and get started. I can't. I know what I want to write about. I don't know how to do it. Her tone is soft, that edge totally gone. I ask whether she wants help. The edge comes back. I guess. Not quite the enthusiasm I was hoping for, but I'll take it. Okay, how about if you give me your paper and pencil and tell me your story verbally? I'll make a few notes on your paper of themes and key points, and maybe that will help you get started. Want to try that? Sure. She hands me her notebook and pencil and looks me in the eye for the first time. Well, my mom is dying, and she hates me. That's my story, but I don't know how to tell it. I'm frozen. I've done that thing adults do to kids. I've assumed her issues matched her stature, that her fears and struggles and challenges were somehow smaller because she was. I do my best to recover. I paraphrase the Danny Shapiro quote about not writing in the midst of the flames or the smoke, but instead from the ashes once they are cool enough to touch. I tell her to be gentle with herself if she tries to tell her story but can't and needs to find a different story that's not too hot to handle. I tell her if she wants help writing her story, I'll work with her. She nods in a way that makes it clear our conversation is over, then turns back to her paper and sits with her pencil hovering above it. I walk away. 6 days later, she arrives in my office doorway, dressed cool but looking timid and uncertain. I am terrified. I'm terrified of not being worthy of her story. I'm terrified her story will be less than it could be in more capable hands. I'm terrified she'll be pissed that I lied to her. It was a lie of omission, but still a lie. I told her class the truth about having written, but I didn't really tell them the truth about writing. I told them about the destination, not the journey that gets you there. I spoke about the satisfaction of having captured the truth on the page, but didn't mention that taking your fear, your anger, and your shame and turning them slowly around until you can describe their shape, color, and texture can tie your stomach in knots. It was a lie of omission, but it was a lie. And now I need to confess. I can't ask this young girl to tell me her truth under the pretense that capturing it on paper will be easy. So I tell her the truth about writing, or I tell her as much of the truth as I've learned so far, and then I tell her that I think it will be worth it. Not because together we will be able to tell her story perfectly, not even because we'll be able to tell it good enough, but because if we don't try, she'll go back to her classroom and sit with her pencil hovering over her blank piece of paper. I tell her it will be worth it because a story that sucks is a place to start, and starting is better than silence.